Wilder Fury 2. What a fight. Excuse my voice, everybody. I'm getting over a terrible cold, still working through it. You know, I got my box of tissues right here. I'm still struggling, but I'm doing my best. I just definitely wanted to get this video out. So yeah, Wilder Fury 2. Great fight from start to finish. Even the ring entrances were great. You know, there was just a lot to talk about and a lot to unpack. Going into it, my prediction was Wilder by knockout. Obviously, I was wrong, but I said to myself from many fights ago on Wilder's fights is that I would not bet against him because he's knocked out nearly everybody he's faced at this point, or knocked him down, right? So how could you bet against him? If he can get to you, he can probably knock you out, right? As a coach, my inclination is always to go with the better boxer, which Fury is, right? Everyone's a better boxer against Wilder, but you gotta win the fight, right? Like you could be a better boxer and lose, right? So Fury proved us wrong, and he actually won. I think the game plan that he came in with was perfect. He took the bully and became the bully, right? Last time he was the one moving backwards and running away and kind of, making him the hard target to hit. And this time he turned the tables on his head and said, you know what? I'm going to be the one coming forward. I'm going to be the aggressor. I'm going to be the one coming after it. And it worked out because it put all the onus on Wilder to be the one to respond to that, right? When you put a guy on his heels and make him move backwards, a lot of times most fighters can only fight one way or the other. There are very, very few that are good at both, right? And even if you're good at both, it all depends on who you do it against. And so he showed that you can't fight backwards. And if you're going to fight backwards, you got to have an excellent jab, right? You got to find a way to keep the other guy from just, walking you down. And the only way to do that is to have him walking into your artillery, and that's going to be your jab, And I think from the point of view of Wilder, if he was able to use the jab with more efficiency, because I really feel like if there was one thing to work on, is you gotta have an excellent jab to go with the right hand. You don't really need, not that you don't really need, but everything else will flow when you have the jab clicking. It makes everything easier because you're gonna have setups, you're gonna have traps, you're gonna have ways to corral the guy using your jab to blind him, to stop him. And Fury did that in his offense coming forward. He just outworked him. He didn't let him breathe. He threw so many punches, that it wouldn't have mattered. Even if he went the distance, he would have still won. But the accumulation of those punches after a while, they just started, a guy who's 40 pounds heavier than you, and it just weighs on you. It's going to hurt you. So excellent fight overall. Would I want to see a third fight? Initially, I'd say no, because everyone thought that Wilder won the first one anyway. I mean, that Fury won the first one anyway, even though it was a draw. Most people think he was outboxed, right? Except the 2 knockdowns. So the draw wasn't egregious. But at the same time, when you look at it from the totality of those rounds, Wilder didn't win many of them at all. So he didn't box well, which he never does, right? So that's the paradox, and that's what makes it interesting, is right. He doesn't ever win a ton of rounds. He just wins the round that he needs to win, and that usually results in a knockout. And that's kind of how it always ends. So it makes it interesting. You got to give Wilder credit to be able to do this 40 plus times, and have knocked out that many people, no matter what level. It takes a tremendous amount of a certain level of skill and effort to be able to do that, right? If that's the case, we all be doing it, right? So we can't knock the guy for what he's been doing, and then everyone's going to jump on the bandwagon and say, oh, he has no boxing skills. Listen, he has a certain amount of boxing skills to be able to do that, right? He's done it, and not a lot of other people have done that, right? So let's be clear about that. But this is when you're fighting the elite of the elite. like Fury, you're gonna get exposed. We would all get exposed at that level. Everyone has. Even Mayweather, who's undefeated, when he fought Maidana twice, the first Maidana fight, you saw some things because it was a different awkward style. Sometimes it's a matter of matchups, and Fury is a bad matchup for any heavyweight. Any heavyweight, he's a bad matchup for. He's 6'9", 270, can move, has a long reach. I mean, he jabs. He uses all his weapons that he possibly can to his disposal. So what else can you really say? It was a tough fight. It's a great fight. I think everyone got their money's worth on it from round one all the way to the last, TKO when that towel got thrown in. You can't complain. And on another note, you can't fault the corner of Wilder for throwing in the towel. You got to err on the side of safety. If you're in the corner of a guy, you're not thinking about just that fight. You're thinking 20, 30 years from now, what is he going to be like when you give him a call, or you're sitting at a fight of, some other young fighters that you guys might be, looking at? Are you going to be able to have a conversation with that guy and still, can he remember that night? That's what it's really about. It's a hard sport, because it's combat at its core, but it's also a sport. We want to live to come back and fight another day. So the corner did the right thing. They threw in the towel. Let the guy, listen, he's undefeated, right? He was the WBC champ. Let the guy, go out, learn the sport all over again. This can be a renaissance for him. He can come back if he really, really puts the effort and time, and he could be something else. He could be a whole nother fighter, by the time he comes back and fights again. You never know, right? It's all about what that team and that person is willing to do, right? So one loss out of 40 plus fights is not going to hurt anybody, right? I think, give the man praise for what he's done. He brought excitement to the division that they didn't have any for a long time, and now we got something to talk about, right? So that's my piece. Give me your thoughts, guys. What you think? Great fight, good fight. Do you want to see a third one? What did you think of the stoppage? All right, peace.